Welcome back to the N-Gage Project Part 7. And the first thing you notice, why haven't I got any trainers running? Well, all will be explained in this update, so stay tuned. Okay, so one thing you may have noticed, I have now got some landscaping going on. I have made this hill out of polystyrene, I think. It's that kind of polystyrene you can use as insulations for sheds, this kind of stuff. And that was just a case of, I cut 3 layers and stuck them on top of each other and obviously shaped it really to the landscape. This will obviously live in this gap. What I intend to do over here is I like to blend this more into the back scene there, and because I've got no space here to put anything like plastic off or anything of that kind of description like this hill, I'm going to do some clever bit of scenery with blending this in like I've already said, and then have maybe a photographic back scene as opposed to like those pre-printed ones you get from Pico to go in that gap there. Because I'm also toying with the idea of putting a road bridge over here, but I'm not sure about that. I'll have to see when I've permanently fixed the back scene building in and the clay building's gone in, how much space I've got. Okay, so the next thing is the back scene I'm going to talk about. This has been cut to height. It's going to have a bit more trimming because over here, as you can see, it is higher than the end face. And obviously I've got to fill that gap, but I've already got a plan on how to do that. For this I cut several battens and spaced them as equally as I could along the back, which gives it the strength for supporting. And obviously this front face has had 2 layers of primer and undercoat and only 1 top coat at the moment. It will be getting a second one, but I'll do that after it's been trimmed down. I don't really want to start trimming it in case it flicks any more bits of wood off by mistake and then takes a nice chunk out of the wood, but I doubt that will happen. I've been experimenting more with the static grass. I bought a Woodland Scenic static grass starter kit from the South Devon Railway, and I have used that to blend it in with the flock powder from Woodland Scenic to make a nice landscape and contour, and I'm quite happy with how it's come out from here all the way down to here. And obviously these big bits here will be redone. I just accidentally sucked it up the hoover whilst it was drying. Before I even lay any static grass or flock powder down, I always paint the wood brown. Now I do this because it will act like an undercoat. So for example, and if we're looking at that from a distance where those marks are which I accidentally hoovered out, all you're thinking is it's just a bit of mud. So it's like an undercoat, but a bit of a trick really, because you're not thinking, oh, he's missed a bit. Onto the signal box next. Now the plans for this, obviously I'm going to get renamed from Blue Anchor, and I hope to install LED lights into it, which I would like to do as well on the clay building, and maybe have some flood lamps hanging off or even in the middle of the tracks, lighting it up for workers if they're working still at night. And we kind of have a name for the layout now, so it could be changing from the N-Gage project. It's either going to be called Trebarrow Junction or Trebarrow. I'm still playing around, but that's the name I like for the layout at the moment. The barrow bit of the name really comes from Goombarrow Junction, because this layout really to me is loosely based on Goombarrow Junction in Cornwall, Newquay branch. The other intention for more work to do on here is I'm now starting to wire it up properly for DCC. So I'll be running a buzz wire around the layout, and I also intend to tidy up all this wiring because it's not very good. It's all messy. And obviously I want that to be sorted, so that's to do. So yeah, I've got several jobs going on at once on the layout. Kind of need to focus on one job at a time, but for the time being, the job I will be focusing on will be the wiring, getting it tidy and converted properly to digital. Well, I've had to move the layout back into the garage now because the parents wanted the conservatory back, and we have both engines with lights on. That only means one thing: it has been wired to digital. So, what did I do to get it to go to digital? Well, I had to divide that out into powered sections. So let's concentrate on where the 60 is running around at the moment. So there is a power feed in here, here, and here. I've had to cut the rails for the frog, else it will be short in. There's another power feed over there, and the same down the other end of the layout. I then ran a buzz wire, which is, well, your positive and negative running from the controller all around the length of the layout, which is underneath, which I'll try and show you in a second. And then using these clips here, which I think are absolutely brilliant for DCC wiring. You don't even have to do any soldering on these. What it is, so holding the right way, yep. So where the left terminal is, you put the dropper wire in there from the track, and then the other one where you can see quite clearly through on the right hand side, just run the buzz wire through that one, and then with a pair of pliers push that metal clip down, and then it automatically pierces through the casing of both wires, making the circuits live. I will admit I have had problems getting this to go to DCC, because when I did it all, some bits were working, some bits wasn't, and having a bit of a frustrating time trying to work out which bit's not working, which bit is. Finally I've gotten somewhere. Most of it really has come down to, I'm going to put it down to bad preparation in soldering, because obviously I painted all the rails and the original power feeds were soldered underneath the fish plates. Obviously I've ballasted now, so I can't well, take the track up and redo it, and that is definitely not an option. However, now that I've done some more soldering work, so like here, I had to put a new one in because the other one wasn't working, but I suspect that was down to bad preparation in the soldering. And as you can definitely notice, the rails are looking horrible and filthy and mucky. They will be cleaned up because obviously I want good reliable running. I don't really want bits of crap like that going into the locos, it's not good for them. So yeah, moving on, I've also weathered up my polybolt wagon for the layout, which I'm quite pleased with how it's come out with. I've chipped another two engines, being this class 47 here, and another 47 in BR large logo blue. Those two have been fitted with the Hatton's 6-pin chip, which so far I think is quite good. The 60 runs with a Bachmann chip. I still have a problem though with the layout. I'm not sure why this is doing it, but every time I throw this point here to where the 47 is, it shorts out the layout immediately, so I must have some fine bit of metal contacting where it shouldn't be. I've already checked the gaps here to make sure that I haven't got anything in there, and they're fine, so hopefully I'll be able to find the cause of that. The next thing for me to do with the points is Gagemaster makes a polarity switch for the layout. No, sorry, I mean for DCC on frogs, and that will be soldered on, hopefully curing the problems with the layouts and powering the frog, because that is currently dead and it doesn't go well with the 47s at all, because obviously that's a shorter loco than a class 60 and it does love to stop on points, so hopefully that polarity switch from Gagemaster will cure that problem. So the next plan, I think I'll get the main line sorted first, and then I'll slowly wire up China clay yard, and I'm going to sort the fiddle yard out because there's still a few problems, but that's mostly down to dirt in the point blades, because as I get power shortages or voltage drops in there, and then locos just struggle to run through. But the fiddle yard's going to be easier to do with the fact that the rails haven't been painted. I can easily take the track up if required, and yeah, that will be that. But for now, I think I'll just enjoy what I've got running. I will show you what I mean with this point shorts. So here we go. Yep, shorts the layout completely. A little bit investigating to do, but it's slowly getting there. So until the next update, see you then.